Let's walk to the sea. Take my hand and kiss me. This is where I want to be. Here with you, so close to me.
Hello again, and welcome to another beer review. Today we're going to continue with some of the kind of Lidl's kind of own kind of brand of beer, and it's a Hatherwood again. We've done other ones. Now we've got an IPA, and apparently it's saying it's bursting with American hops. So I think we can guess what we're going to get with that. I think we're going to get citrus. But let's see. So there we go, Hatherwood IPA. The labels have actually just changed, so if you look on the website you'll probably see the older ones. I think this was initially called Greco kind of IPA, but now it's just Hatherwood IPA rather than Hatherwood Greco. And yes, it's again it's £1.09 a bottle. It's 5% for and it's 500 milliliter bottle, and it's got a little bit of spiel on it. It says this IPA is a tropical thunderstorm of big flavour American hops with a distinctive lemon and grapefruit finish. What did I say? This unblinking classic is underpinned by a subtle malt taste, allowing the bold exploration of frontier flavours. Again, they seem to kind of think, well, IPA's got to be all about the hops. But let's see what it's like. It might be quite good, it might not, we don't know. Oh, well, straight away we're getting that floralness, we're getting citrus, we'll get grapefruit straight away. So here, let's get it poured and see what it's like. I might have to have a malty beer after this to kind of balance it out. Oh no. Well, it's well carbonated. Well, there's 2 fingers straight away, and there's still some in the bottle. Remember, this is only 5ml, this is a pint glass. Just to let you know, if people don't realise, it's 500ml, that looks like the rest of the pint. But I'm sure our American viewers, I don't think there is any, but if there was, we know what we're talking about. So yeah, there we go. It's very kind of golden in colour. Not amber in any way, but very kind of golden. Strong hoppy smells of grapefruit, floralness. You're getting all that kind of roses, grapefruit, blood orange. Right, let's get cracked in and see what it tastes like. That is actually not too bad. Yes, it's got the citrus flavours at the end, but they're not too strong. And at the start you are getting a kind of maltiness to it. So there's a kind of balance there, which is actually quite surprising. I would probably say from the kind of more of the craft beer scene type of situation that people are kind of used to, they would probably want more hops, they'd probably want more of the grapefruit and citrus kind of flavours. I think this is just a nice balance. I don't want it overly citrus, I think, because it becomes, for me, overpowering and sickening very quickly. You think, well, it would be nice to have another one, but I don't want another one because I just feel that it's it seems to be the only kind of flavour profile. It's kind of rammed down your throat too much, and I think that's one of the problems. Is like too much of a good thing. You know, you want it kind of just toned back a bit, just to kind of so you can have that balance and just make it more pleasurable. I mean, it's like, imagine as a case as though that milk chocolate didn't exist and all you had was kind of really strong, high percentage dark chocolate, which is nice, but that's all you had, that was your only choice. And it just seemed every time you had chocolate it was like that. So you imagine then any of your favourite chocolate bars made like that, then you're not really going to taste all the other kind of flavours so easily. Imagine a Snickers bar made with 80 or 90% dark chocolate. It's really going to overpower a lot of the other flavours like the caramel, the peanuts, everything else. So it's like that. It's like there is more to beer than American hops. And while I have nothing against American hops, there's got to be a kind of balance. You're missing out on so many different other flavour profiles that can make a heck of a difference to a beer by having just too much of the one thing, and it's just overpowering everything else. So yeah, this is actually quite nicely balanced. There is that kind of ever so slight sweet maltiness to start with, and then it starts to kind of blend. When it gets to the middle of the tongue, you feel the hops really kind of starting to come, you're getting that citrus coming in. But as it starts to kind of build, it just kind of builds so much and then just sits there and then just nicely tails off. It's actually a nice mouth finish, a nice kind of aftertaste of the citrus rather than, oh, and then sometimes there's a case you get the citrus and it becomes too bittery, too sour just because it's too strong, and your aftertaste is that kind of sourness of kind of grapefruit and kind of orange rind, and it's just, I find that overpowering and sickening as a personal thing. Maybe other people love it, great, so you might not like this because you might be looking for more of that citrus sourness that you're just not really getting, which for me is nice. You're getting the grapefruit without the bitter kind of aftertaste. And there we go, just getting that last kind of blast just before you swallow, just as it's getting right to the back of your mouth. You get this blast of citrus with a little bit of bitterness, and then it just dissipates lovely after you swallowed it. So you're not sitting there with that kind of just at the right back of the mouth, just before it goes down into the actual throat, that kind of sourness sitting there, which I've had from a lot of beers, especially American IPAs and American pale ales and things like that, just because it's just far too much of the old hops. I mean, hops are nice, but for goodness sake, I think some of these beers are, in my view, are spoiled just because they're just too intense at the back end of the hops. But that's maybe what they're wanting, maybe that's what they're looking for and brewing for, which is great, okay, fine, but then I'm not really your demographic kind of drinker that you're going for then, because it's just too much for me. I like something more balanced, and surprisingly enough, for £1.09, this is actually quite nicely balanced, and it's got a nice mouthfeel. And it's one of these ones. Normally I wouldn't say these type of beers are kind of session, but I would say that about this. I would say that this is a kind of a bordering on kind of session, because it is hoppy, it is an IPA, it has got American hops, you can taste it, you can taste the citrus and everything else. But again, because it's not so overpowering, it actually is quite easy to drink. It's one of these ones that you could drink it as a kind of a, to quench a thirst. So it's a bit of a thirst quencher in some ways. Not like a lager or something like that, but it's light enough to make it very, very drinkable. And I've got to admit, it was a bit ominous when it said made with American hops, because by putting that on the label, you're telling me, hey, here comes the citrus. But I think to meet a price point, because hops aren't cheap, I think to meet a price point, then of course they've dialed back on the hops a bit because of that, to kind of obviously meet the price point of the kind of what they want to kind of sell it for, which is £1.09. So it probably doesn't have the amount of hops as maybe say a standard kind of American IPA or American style IPA. And I think that's actually helped it probably, because if they were going to sell this for £2 a bottle, I would expect it to be more hoppy, and I think that would be to the detriment of the actual beer and how it actually tastes and how drinkable it is. And to be totally honest, for £1.9 to have an IPA that tastes as nicely balanced as this, which I'm quite surprised at this, because I'm not going to say we're going to slate it, but I was expecting to kind of say, well, you know, it's just lacking in flavour and it's just really not got the roundness and the kind of development of flavour and things like that. Because a lot of times with cheaper, you know, a lot of kind of cheaper beers, they can be a bit watery or a bit kind of lacking in some of the flavours. The flavours are there, but they're like hints and they're too subtle and just not intense enough. Like a more of a kind of well-known branded kind of more expensive beer. So yes, what would I give this out of 5? Well, surprised enough for the money and how it drinks, mouthfeel, flavour. Let me have a think. This is quite a strange one actually. I'm going to give this a 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. It's actually well up there. I'll be totally honest, and I'm not one to kind of hand out praise so easily. And yeah, I appreciate, you know, value for money. Of course I do. But a lot of times you expect, it's like anything in life, if things are cheaper, you expect it not to be there or just not quite, and be lacking in some areas, but for the money you can live with it. I mean, we all do it in life, whether it's with beer, food, anything, you know, we all kind of expect to make some compromise for the price. Whereas I'm actually very surprised at this. Really quite surprised at it, because it's not a strong IPA, but it's not a weak IPA. All the flavour profiles are there, and from my view it makes it very drinkable, because they are toned down a bit. But it's also nice because it means you also can taste the actual kind of malt as well, so you're getting that as well. So you're getting the malt flavours to start with, you're getting the grapefruit and the citrus, you're getting that kind of sour blast just before you swallow it, and then it just dissipates. It's not that sourness lingering, and that's all you mean. Right now is a case as though I don't have any flavours in the back of my throat, whereas normally if I was drinking an American IPA or American style IPA with lots of hops, I would have this kind of sourness, just a slight bitterness just constantly sitting there, which becomes overbearing after a while when you just think, I'm sick of this. But no. This is actually surprisingly quite good. So I would recommend, if you can get to Lidl, and they do have this wherever you are in the world, give it a go. If it's only for the UK, then all I can say is unlucky. You're missing out, especially at this type of price point, and that's a shame. But if it is just for the UK and you are in the UK, then get off your backsides and go and get some, because for £1.09, this is actually a good beer. Would I buy it again? Yes, definitely. And I've got another Hatherwood to do. I think it's a porter that I want to try, so that will be coming up quite soon. And if that turns out to be quite good, because we're now kind of into kind of mid-October now, that's where we are just now. And I tend to kind of go for the more kind of richer flavoured, darker kind of beers. This is the kind of time going into the winter. So porter's a good winter beer for me. So if this is a good porter and it's at £1.9, then yes, I'll be getting plenty of that. This is a kind of lighter sessionable one. Yeah, I would be buying this. No problem at all. So yes, I'll be wanting a good few of these sitting available for when I fancy it. And I would recommend you to give it a try. If you have already tried it, then let us know what you think of it in the comments. But yeah, that's a unusual little gem that I've managed to obviously find. Obviously, there's probably lots of people think, hey, I've already discovered this, but yeah, for me, this is actually quite surprising. I expected to kind of to have its kind of compromises, but no. I honestly think that they've actually done a very good job of this, and they're selling it for a cracking price. And it's got the alcohol content of 5%, so it's not lacking in that. It's a 500ml bottle, so it's not lacking in that. All the flavours are there, so it's not lacking in that. And as you can see, it's still a good lively beer. And at £1.9, it's a no-brainer. Go and get some. Anyway, that's us for this review. Thanks for watching. Cheers, and bye for now.